Well, Tina and I have been talking that all your decisions do have consequences, and the quality of your decisions are interesting to say the least. But before we get into that, Tin, who are we?
We are Tina and Norm, and we talk all things retirement, whether it's travel, financial, or just chatting about everyday subjects.
Retirement, the best job ever.
It definitely is.
So we have three stories for you. We know you like stories, so we've come up with some really interesting things. The one thing about aging and growing older is it's not only your muscles and the aches and the backaches and hair loss, all that good stuff.
Oh.
There are things that happen to your decision-making abilities and your ability to make good decisions or to think through decisions. So we have a story about one of our friends. And why don't you start, Ting?
Okay, well, the story is about his pride and joy car, which he, about a year ago, promised to his granddaughter if when she passed her driving test. Well, now we've moved on a year, and what's happening, Norm?
Well, we're about 3 or 4 months away from the official handover, and he's starting to have second thoughts. Now, he's not going to Welsh on the deal. He's going to give it to his granddaughter. But it's his pride and joy. He's owned it for 12 years, but if you can believe, it looks brand new. Looks as though he just got it yesterday.
It's a beautiful car.
He hand washes it and vacuums, and he has winter tires and he has summer tires. So they still have the same tires that they've had for 12 years. It's just a gorgeous, nice car, and he's very proud of it. Well, he now has to go and find a new car.
So what's that done is put the stress level on high overload now. So all of a sudden, it's now how do we get a car and where do we find one in the current car finding situation?
So he's doing research, which is good for him because he enjoys doing that. So he's researching different vehicles. But where we live in southwestern Ontario, Canada, car supply is still quite limited. There's very few dealerships you can go and just pick one from the lot. They're nearly all requiring an order, especially as the brand that he's seemingly going towards. So it's going to take 3 to 6 months to get one after he's done his test drives and whatever to make sure
That's what he wants.
what he wants.
Yeah.
So basically, he is an extremely generous man, and he does want to help his granddaughter out. But we were thinking, if he'd come at it from a different point of view and said to his granddaughter, when you pass your test, we will buy you a car, $10,000 or $12,000. And that would have been perfect. Would have given her the mobility, and he would have kept his pride and joy. But decisions have consequences.
They do. And what you have to be careful is that you don't regret that decision later on.
That's right. And that's part of growing older, is that maybe you become too generous or not soft, but just wanting to help your family, and you say things without thinking it through. And that's all that we're saying. Funny thing happened to us yesterday. Got a phone call. We don't get many phone calls.
No, not good ones anyway.
It was our mailbox provider that we have for this channel. So if you want to send us something, we have that, and companies send us stuff to review. And so anyway, got a phone call, and the guy said, we've got a couple of packages for you. So we thought, great, we'll go down, pick them up. We've got some mail as well. And so we got them home and opened them up, only to discover When were these packages delivered to our mailbox, Tina?
Back in October 22. Like nearly 8 months ago.
That's right, because we're talking to you, making this video the last day of the month of May.
23.
Yeah.
We were horrified, weren't we?
Absolutely. And to think that some generous people, our viewer, had mailed us some gifts, and we're just horrified about it. So we've written to both of the people who sent us stuff independently of each other to explain. And so we just want to highlight one of the gifts that we were given to you.
Yes. And we have received a wonderful book called The Tarts and Vicars Diner. And this was sent to us by Shannon Park. And we would like to say thank you so much for the book. We haven't read it yet, obviously, because we only got it yesterday. We just wanted to say thank you.
And it's about eating well and getting off the yo-yo diet. And she has a formula we just glanced through it.
Yeah.
And she gave us a lovely letter outlining how she wrote the book.
Yeah.
She was inspired by David Chilton, who wrote The Wealthy Barber. Yeah. And she's written it in a way that's easy to read. And it's got her off the yo-yoing diet and has maintained her weight for a considerable amount of time. So the good news for you is that we got 2 of these. So we're going to keep one because we want to get off the yo-yo
diet. We want to lose weight, so we need to read it.
So what are we going to do with the other one, Tina?
We are going to give it to one of our viewers.
So you can win it.
Yes, you can.
Just leave us a comment in the description below, in the comment section of this video, telling us why you'd like to have the book. And if you can provide us, we will randomly select a winner.
We will
and then we'll try and work out a way to find your address.
Yes.
So, and we will also put a link in the description of this video to the where you can buy it on Amazon.
Yes, because we did find that out, didn't we?
We did indeed. So thank you, Shannon, and we are sorry that it's taken us 7 months to acknowledge your very generous gift. Moving on, Tin, we must have another story.
Oh, yes, we're moving on to staying too long in your home. And the basis of this story is actually from both our sets of parents, because it happened to them. And we have learned from what we watched them go through, haven't we, Norm?
Very much so, Tina.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, both our mothers in retirement wanted to move to an apartment, or as they would say over in England, a flat. Because I think they realized the amount of work that it took to clean and maintain a single family home. They were both brides of the 50s and kept a really nice house. But I think they realized there was limitations to their health in maintaining those. And they wanted to downsize, go to a smaller apartment that's easier to maintain.
Yeah.
Because the area where they were living in had gone through some substantial degentrification, where it had gone from a nice middle-class neighborhood to a lower middle-class neighborhood, if you like, if there is such a thing.
But there was a big stumbling block in this story, and that was both our dads, who they viewed this situation as totally different. They were all in a home that was paid off, and they thought throwing money away was going to happen if they rented.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're doing. We're throwing money away on rent just wildly.
So the mums didn't do too well in persuading the dads, did they?
And they did remain in their houses right to their end of days. But the houses deteriorated. They weren't able to maintain it. it came with stresses as well, not only from the neighbors and maybe louder music, but finding landscapers that were reliable enough to cut the grass and do the weeding, because they got to the stage where they couldn't do it.
No.
And so, as Tina says, the house started owning them, and they were stuck there. And they got to an age where even if they wanted to go to a flat, they were beyond the decision-making process to make that decision. It was too difficult to do in the end.
So what we did was, because we watched this happen, we learnt by their choices, and we didn't want to regret the same thing. So we made, as you know, alternative choices, and we sold our house, and we are renting, and we're very happy doing so.
Yeah, throwing our money away.
Yeah.
So they missed the opportunity to downsize, to go into a flat. They would have had to have downsized, but they didn't do that. And so that meant that we had to do it for them. So moving on
to story number 3, which has to be careful of any decisions, financial decisions, of helping your adult children out.
It's easy to do. Maybe your adult children hit a rough patch in their life, and they're looking for some help financially from you. We've done it to our children.
Yeah.
We helped them. Yeah. The advantage we had, we got married young, and so we were still working when we had grandchildren and our adult children were grown up. We still had jobs. So we were able to help them by giving them some money to get out of their problems, because we could replenish it with our jobs and our savings. But as we got into retirement and were asked again, we decided not to. And part of it was helping them make decisions that were more responsible and stop the frivolous spending, because we weren't going to be the bank of mum and dad.
No, because as we're getting older, we don't have any bank of mum and dad to go to.
No, we don't.
We have any shortfall in our money, because none of us know how long we're going to live.
No.
So that is something you do have to be kind of careful about, that you don't regret a decision to kind of financially keep helping people out.
Because eventually it damages them, because they use you as a financial crutch. And since we kind of said no more, they've made better decisions. And we're proud of that.
Yes.
And basically, we don't have deep pockets because we're throwing money away on that. So all that we're saying is, be aware as you age that you may feel more generous than you used to, but your decision-making process is aging as well. And think through any important decisions and sleep on it before you actually carry out those decisions, especially as we get older. We've often talked about the 60 to 70 year, 70 to 80, 80 to the end. Things do deteriorate, and your mind could be one of those, and your decision-making process. So that's our tale of decision-making.
And we hope that everybody is staying safe
And keeping well.
until the next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.